So bale grazing is where bales are set in the field and livestock are asked to graze the forage right out of the bale. It's a quick way to build soils, add organic matter, and stimulate some degraded or tired soils. Here's a quick look at some results.
So this is a site that I've been grazing for a few years. The history of this was it was season-long grazed for about a decade with dry cows, up to where this whole field was nothing but just blow sand. There was hardly any plants in it at all. In fact, the neighbor over here had to dig about that much soil out of his property every year from this blowing. We deferred it for a couple years, plants started to come back, and then we've been grazing it a little bit at a time, and it's never been very healthy. It's got poor soils on it. Last year we had to feed about a 2-week gap to get the cows to the next lease, and we bale grazed this and set some bales on it. Had about 200 pair in here, and we're able to put some material down, and it's kind of fun to observe the response that we're seeing. So I'm going to walk from this right here below me is what it is looking right now, and then over here is our bale grazing site. And obviously quite a difference in plant growth, so we're just going to look into this and watch it and see what changes.
I think one of the differences I noticed was outside of that bale area, you find areas that are bare ground. The only areas inside that's bare is where there was just a thicker layer of the hay, the chaff. Mm-hmm. You see all those worms?
Oh man, look at that.
So here Andrew's digging through the soil of the bale graze site, and it's just pretty amazing to look at the life in this soil and the consistency of it compared to the untreated site.
Soil here in a spot that's not bale grazed, and see if you see any life in there.
Certainly no worms.
What would be your guesstimate on differences of forage production?
I would say close to double the difference. When you take into account some of the bare ground that's outside of where that bale was and the total height.
So here's an aerial view of the site that we bale grazed. This essentially included one semi-load of hay that we'd set around last year. And so obviously the area that we treated wasn't substantial in terms of the pasture, but the results are pretty impressive, and it'll be fun to watch it as the years continue.